OK， 好，好。
歡迎各位嚟到。
Welcome to the press conference of the Public Accounts Committee. In a moment, the chairperson and the members will speak, and then the floor will be open for questions. Chair, please. Welcome to the press conference of the Public Accounts Committee. The committee has today tabled in the Council its report number 81. There are a total of 8 chapters in the report of the Director of Audit. We have decided to hold public hearings on 2 of the chapters with more serious irregularities. They are Chapter 2, Licensing of Food Premises, and Chapter 3, Maintenance of Modernization of Lifts and Escalators in Public Rental Housing Estates. As to the other 6 chapters, the relevant bureaus and departments and organizations have already addressed members' issues of concern in writing at the request of the committee. We have already received the official replies. In the press conference today, 2 lead members will speak. They will walk you through the 2 chapters. I now first invite Ms. Carmen Khan to introduce to you Chapter 2, Licensing of Food Premises. Ms. Carmen Khan, please. Thank you, Chairman. Friends from the media, good afternoon. As the Chairman said, we have chosen Chapter 2 as one of the chapters on which public hearings were held. Food premises are very much linked to the livelihood of residents of Hong Kong. Hong Kong has long been renowned as one of the world's culinary capitals, with a great number of restaurants offering cuisine from all over the world. So we have chosen this chapter as we need to safeguard public safety from the perspective of food permits and licensing, food license licensing. I will brief members on the points of concern. In Chapter 2, that is about the licensing of food premises, regarding new food business licenses and new restricted food premise, the FEHD took a long time to handle the applications. It took 138 to 217 days in 2022. So the Public Accounts Committee urged the FEHD to set key performance indicators and should also set quantifiable targets. The administration replied that they have already rolled out the second phase information system, that is LMIS, Licensing Management Information System 2. The PAC will continue to monitor the work. In the public hearing, it was concerned that the FEHD was not accurate in its reporting of work. For applications received and approved in the same year, the FEHD has already taken on board the suggestion given by the PAC and the Audit Commission. They will use the medians and other figures to replace the existing mechanism. From 2018 to 2022, application vetting panel meetings held less than 1% of the meetings, totaling 8,945. Under these circumstances, those meetings that were scheduled but not convened were also counted towards the key performance indicator. In the controlling officer's report and in the relevant website, they were reported to be 100% achieved. In the public hearing, the FEHD and the EEB also said that this is not acceptable. The officers did not have a full grasp of the requirements of these figures or KPIs. They thought that they had already met the requirement when they had largely finished their tasks. The high number of workload also contributed to the situation. The controlling officer's report is a very important one. The accuracy of the information is very important. In case of any misbehavior, disciplinary action will be taken. So the PAC strongly urges the FEHD to improve the reporting mechanism, including the reporting base figures. Training should be enhanced and technologies should also be used in order to improve the situation. Provisional licenses may be granted before the full license can be granted. We also expressed our concerns in relation to operating food restaurants without licenses. The FEHD had failed to refer the cases to the Regional Licensing Office or District Environmental Hygiene Office for follow-up. There were a total of 10 these cases. These restaurants operated with a license before they obtained a provisional food license. So we strongly urge the FEHD to deal with the situation. More actions should be taken in order to curb these situations. At present, the mechanism is a penalty-based one. In some situations, provisional food licenses were granted on the day that followed. We have already requested the FEHD, the Fire Services Department, and the Buildings Department to set up a mechanism. The FEHD is working on enhancing the deterrent effect. There is also deficiency in relation to the storage of record. Before the public hearings, the relevant referral record about operating food restaurants with licenses could not be obtained. It only became available after we asked the officials for the record. 1 week after the licenses were granted, the referral took place. For collaboration among departments, other departments are actually invited for comments before a food license is issued. So we have strongly recommended improvement work. Using e-payment, well, in the second quarter of 2024, online payment will be extended to all licenses. Electronic platforms will also be used to handle payment. License first, inspection later will be used in order to tally with the professional certification system. A composite permit will also be used in order to help the industry better grasp the measures and the situation. Thank you, Ms. Carmen Kan. I will now invite Ms. Eunice Yong to report to you Chapter 3, that is maintenance and modernization of lifts and escalators in public rental housing estates. Afterwards, we will open the floor for questions. Ms. Eunice Yong, please.
Ms. Eunice Yong, yes. On maintenance and modernization of lifts and escalators in public rental housing estates, we note that the HA manages lifts and escalators and is responsible for the routine maintenance and inspections. We note that these facilities enhance the mobility of tenants of PRH estates and contribute to the overall quality of life, especially making it safer and more convenient for the elderly. That is why we have chosen this chapter for an analysis, so as to strive for improvement on the maintenance and modernization of lifts and escalators. We understand that the usage of lifts in PRH estates is higher than that of private residential estates in general. The government introduces more stringent requirements in maintenance and inspection than the statutory requirements. The Housing Department adopts a 3-tier mechanism to monitor the works of contractors. There are, at the district level, DMOs and PSAs responsible for day-to-day monitoring, as well as inspection by headquarters staff and sample independent checks. Without compromising safety, we strongly recommend HA and HD to review the streamlining of the 3-tier mechanism to avoid duplication of inspection resources and reduce the frequency of suspensions of the facilities for inspection in order to minimize inconvenience caused to users. We also note that the HD has agreed to review and enhance the existing monitoring mechanism, such as exploring ways to shorten the inspection time and coordinating the inspection schedules of the 3-tier monitoring mechanism, as well as integrating inspections by district and headquarters staff so as to minimize the number of suspensions of lift and escalators for inspections. We request the Housing Department to provide a progress report on the outcome of the review of the above mechanism. On service performance of lift and escalators and monitoring of the contractors under the 3-tier monitoring mechanism, we express concern. We note that there are quite a number of cases, for example, in 2021-2022, 5,829 and 5,891 lifts and escalators respectively, subject to routine and half-yearly assessments by the DMOs and PSAs. However, 21 and 26 lifts respectively failed to undergo routine assessments or half-yearly assessments. 3 lifts failed to undergo any assessment within the 2-year period. In light of the above, we request the Housing Department to stringently monitor and review the mechanism to minimize the occurrence of incidents. And the CST has not set any time frame for DMOs and PSAs to follow up on the rectification of defects identified in surprise checks. And we express grave concerns of the following. Of the 31,364 cases of breakdown of lifts and 1,539 cases of breakdown of escalators from the 1st of January in 2020 to the 30th of April 2023, services have been suspended for over 2 days in 209 and 25 cases respectively. And we are gravely concerned that among the 219 cases of breakdown of lifts, 3 lifts had service suspended for over 60 days and 7 lifts had service suspended for over 2 days twice within 6 months, with a total suspension period ranging from 5 to 9 days for each lift. We also note that the HD has enhanced the relevant guidelines and requested the responsible staff to input the data on newly installed lifts into the new system properly, and also as for the arrangements for spare parts for the purpose of maintaining these lifts, as well as breakdown caused by human behavior and environmental factors. A review should be conducted. We also express concern about the non-compliances. For example, in the 53 submissions by 11 contractors from January 2022 to March 2023, there were delays in 22 submissions. The delays ranged from 1 to 203 days, averaging 48 days. We also note that the HD will be collaborating with ASTRI to address this issue. They will also step up efforts in monitoring the submission of quarterly inspections reports and urge contractors to submit reports in a timely manner. Digital logbooks will also be adopted with a view to activating the accounts for all contractors for access by HD staff and contractors in the first quarter of 2024. Now, contractor C's performance was mentioned in the report, and we note that the improvement of this contractor has improved. We urge the HD to continue with the monitoring effort. We also recommend the HD to do 8 things. HD should enhance monitoring over improvement works identified in surprise checks and additional lift inspections conducted by the CST. And the results of the surprise checks conducted by CST should be put under the BSMASS. The measures should be taken to make sure that requirements are followed. We should also closely monitor the inventory of spare parts with contractors to ensure reliable supply. The HD should step up educational efforts to raise the public awareness of proper and safe use of lifts and escalators, and strictly implement the marking scheme to take penalty actions as appropriate against willful damage of the lifts and escalators by tenants. The HD should also explore using new technologies to facilitate early identification of areas requiring attention or rectification in the maintenance. The full implementation of digital logbooks should also be done, requiring all contractors to adopt the logbooks. Then they should be reminded of the importance of proper documentation. There should be a scoring mechanism. We're also concerned about the lift modernization program. We note that as at the 30th of June 2023, 1,380 lifts maintained by the Housing Department, that is 23%, have been in use for 25 years or more, and 1,325 lifts, that is 22%, maintained by the department were with service years ranging from 20 to less than 25 years. However, with the resources available, the HD could only modernize around 80 to 90 lifts per year. We want to see the progress being expedited. I hope that the HD will pay attention to the matter raised in this report. We also express grave concern of the following. According to the audit, of the 238 lifts with LM works completed during the period of 2018-19 to 2022-23, only one lift had been shut down for less than 7.5 months. Now, of the 238 lifts with LM works completed during the period mentioned, the resumption date had experienced delays. 188, that's 79% of lifts had been shut down for more than 7.5 to 10.5 months. 20.6% or 49 lifts had been shut down for more than 10.5 to 14.5 months. 190 or 80% of lifts had not resumed service by the planned completion date as stipulated in the contracts, resulting in delays in service resumption of 2 to 169 days, averaging 32 days. So we urge the Housing Department, which is agreed, to adopt a two-pronged approach in proceeding with the LM program. It should be expedited. And we strongly urge the Housing Authority and the Housing Department to make every effort to expedite the implementation of the lift modernization program whilst taking into account the resource constraint. The HD and HA should also review the operation of the scoring mechanism for determining the priority of lift replacement to ensure that the scoring mechanism can be implemented properly. There should be proper documentation on the justifications for the decisions and recommendations made by the Lift Modernization Technical Vetting Committee in prioritizing lift replacement works to ensure fairness and integrity. They should make continuous efforts to review and enhance the efficiency of LM works so as to minimize disruption to lift service, and that measures should be taken to resume lift services as soon as possible. To ensure that the time frame can be met, and there should be a strengthening of the contract management.
Thank you, Ms. Eunice Yong. Let's see if other members would like to add. Any members would like to speak? If no, the floor will be open for questions and reporters can ask questions. Please identify your media outlet before you ask questions. Any questions from the floor? Good afternoon, I'm from Hong Kong 01. From 2018 to 2022, there should be a total of 9,000 AVP meetings, but less than 1% was really held. What is the reason for that? Do you think this is a dereliction duty on the part of the FEHD? The application period ranged from 100 to 200 days. Do you think the procedures could be streamlined? You mentioned using technologies to streamline the procedures. In what aspect? What should be the reasonable application time? Ms. Carmen Chan, please. Thank you, reporter, for your questions. Just now you mentioned 2018 to 2022, a total of 8,945. Only 75 meetings were held. So the rate was less than 1%, to be exact, 0.8%. For the reasons behind it, in the public hearing, the administration replied that the applicant considered it not necessary to hold a meeting. In the calculation of the total number of 8,000 odd meetings, when there were applications, some meetings were scheduled in which the application procedures would be explained to the applicants. When the applicants did not find it necessary to convene the meeting would not be convened. In the calculation of the achievement rate, we found from the record that there was something unclear. Your second question concerns the application period. That is, it took as long as 217 days to handle the application. Actually, it is not the FEHD that is the sole department to approve the application. Instead, it consolidated all the information and it served as a contact point to receive the information. It would also contact other departments. In the absence of an electronic system, a lot of clerical work was involved. Much manpower was involved. There wasn't any time limit in relation to referral. That was something to be done internally. That is why we strongly urge the FEHD to set performance pledges. Right now, it's not clear. Deputy Chair. In the public hearing, quite many applications were submitted through professional intermediaries. They are well up in the application procedures, and that is the reason why not a lot of meetings were held. They are like contractors which help with obtaining licenses. Any other questions? I'd like to ask about lifts and escalators. There were quite some breakdowns. So why did you request the housing department to carry out fewer inspections? I'd like to invite Ms. Eunice Yung to take the question. But before that, we asked them to reduce inspections. There are a total of 3 mechanisms. There may be overlapping of resources. So without compromising public use of the lifts, we'd like the resources to be used well, and that is our general principle. I will ask Ms. Eunice Yung to add.
In the course of considering the audit report, we felt the same way. If you checked our PAC report, the first chapter is on how, for this chapter, our goal is to streamline the 3-tier mechanism. This is, in fact, one of our major recommendations. In fact, the government has also undertaken to provide a progress report on streamlining the 3-tier monitoring mechanism. Now, there is day-to-day monitoring by the district maintenance officers and also inspection by headquarters staff and sample independent checks. If you read the report, you will find inadequacies in every step. At the district level, the staff failed to submit the reports, and the contractors failed to use the digital logbooks to record the reports. Because of these errors, we do see room for improvement in the monitoring mechanism as a whole. By streamlining the 3-tier mechanism, there will be improvement, be it checks suspension of lifts. By streamlining the mechanism and deploying technology, we can improve the situation. According to the government's response, the HD will collaborate with ASTRI. So in terms of preventive measures, they are working on it. That is to prevent lift suspensions by replacing the parts at an earlier stage. There should be proper inventory control so as to shorten the lead time for the order and procurement of spare parts. Technology should also be deployed. That's one of our recommendations, especially during daily maintenance and monitoring, be it on the part of the government and the contractor. Improvements can be made. Anything else from other members? Any other questions? If not, any final remarks from members? No? If not, then thank you for attending the press conference of the PAC. Thank you.